Hello, comrades, and welcome back to Ushanka Show. Здравствуйте, дорогие товарищи. В эфире программа Ushanka Show. My name is Sergey, and I got my education in the Soviet Union. And this is actually my graduation picture from the 1988. I was almost 17 on this picture. I was a member of the Young Communist Youth, Komsomol, and I want to cry when I see those horrible birth control glasses. So today we're going to talk about Soviet education. We're going to take a look at my school day planner from the 10th grade. And we're going to take a look at what subjects did the Soviet students study in the 10th grade, which was the last year of the Soviet high school. I went to school for a total of 10 years, but I had to go to school every Saturday, 6 days a week. And by the way, if you're interested in the topic of Soviet education, you can check out my playlist called Soviet Education. I already have 17 videos dedicated to a topic of pretty much my experience going to kindergarten and going to school in Kiev, Ukraine in 1970s, 1980s. So if you're interested, check it out, my playlist, Soviet Education. So here's the picture from my school album from the 10th grade. Right in the middle, it's my school number 254. In Soviet Union, we didn't have any names for schools, like here we got Shamrocks or whatever, just number 254. And behind you could see that 9-story building. It's actually my apartment building. So I lived very, very close to my school, which I went 8th, 9th, and 10th grade. And here's some teachers. English teacher, history, physics, military training and such. So this is what teachers looked like in Soviet Union. But before I start my long and boring video about subjects that we studied in the 10th grade, let's talk about love. So this is Ira, the girl I had a horrible crush in the 8th grade. Although she had pretty poor grades, she didn't leave after 8th grade. She went to 9th and 10th. I kind of made myself stop loving her, but I still had a kind of little crush on her even in 9th and 10th grade, but she started dating a different guy. And this is Oksana that I had crush on in the 10th grade. She had a beautiful smile and beautiful legs that was impossible not to notice because her skirt was so short. Okay, and now back to our main topic. This is the cover of my day planner, Dnevnik, from the 10th grade, year of 1987-88. And this Dnevnik is in Russian language. And this is the back cover, standard message, young friends, do you know why fires are happening? Why fire becomes the enemy and causes a lot of damage. So basically talking about wildfires are happening. It's kind of actual right now for the situation that's going on in California and Oregon. Price is 15 kopecks and it was printed in Zhytomyr. First page, typical rules for students, and that's a funny spot on the top right corner. That was from chemistry. We were working with some acids, and I did the experiment. Dropped a little bit of acid on the top of my day planner, and it burned through the pages. So that's kind of memory of me being interested in chemistry. And it's this amazing stuff. It's all these rules for the students. Be a citizen of your socialist motherland, active builder of communism, perform the Zavyety of the great Lenin, work, study, and live communist style, prepare yourself for defending of socialist motherland, and so on and so on and so on. Pretty impressive. And here we have a general view of my weekly schedule for September, and it's pretty much the same through the year. And I just wanted to remind you guys that we didn't change children year after year. Like in American school, they rotate children. Like every new year, they have a different kids in classes. Usually, there'll be same group of kids pretty much from 1st grade all the way to the 8th grade. Just kind of a little notice. But anyway, so 6 days a week again, as always. 6 lessons every day, 45 minutes each. And you may notice that there's nothing on the schedule for Wednesdays because we had so-called UPK, Учебно-производственный комбинат. So that's when we went to get labor education to the different facility. It was actually almost 40 minutes by bus from my place to get to the place where I was actually doing metal work. And that would happen once a week. And then in the end of the year, I believe we spent like 1 or 2 weeks just working at some factory to get like the skills according to what specialty you picked. So let's take a look at the subjects that we had to study. So on Monday, first lesson was algebra. Second lesson was chemistry, which in the 10th grade was organic chemistry. A lot of formulas, a little lab work. Wasn't a big fan of that subject. Our third lesson on Monday was Russian literature, and it looks like we studied Maxim Gorky stories. So my homework notes say that I need to read story Makar Chudra. Don't remember anything about it besides that I looked it up. It's about gypsies, and they actually made a movie based on his story called Tabar уходит в небо. And the second story was Starucha Izergil, Old Izergil. He wrote that story in 1895, and it's about old gypsy lady that shared the story of her life. The fourth class on Monday was Informatica, computer science. And I already mentioned that I believe like my class was the very first class in the Soviet school that started computer science. It started in, I believe in the 8th grade. I already don't remember. I was talking about it, but that's what we had a special room with computers. And it was a one central unit, CPU, I believe, whatever it's called. And then, of course, each other was just a screen and a keyboard connected to the central processing unit. Our lesson number 5 on Mondays was physics. And I always had mixed feelings about it since our teacher was very strict and gave us tons of homework. But I like the practical part of different experiments in class, and I learned a lot of practical things too. Like I remember one time he was asking a question, who can tell me why moon looks like shining way brighter in the winter than in the summer, and no one could answer, and he said because snow reflects the moonlight. And it was like so obvious, but no one could think about it. And the final, the 6th lesson of Mondays was NVP, Initial Military Training. I already had quite a few videos about that specific topic. That was kind of like taking a break after physics and chemistry and algebra, and I truly enjoyed our teacher. He was a retired colonel, can't say the word, polkovnik of the Soviet Army. He was very smart, and everyone enjoyed that class. Okay, so what else did we study 10th grade? If we look at the Tuesday, the September 22nd, the first lesson was Ukrainian literature. And it's interesting, it says, learn Lenin. So I guess there was some poem in Ukrainian language called Lenin. I had to know it by that day. And this is actual picture of our class and our teacher of Ukrainian language and literature. Unfortunately, I don't remember her name anymore. Well, I remember that when she gave you 3 grade, which is satisfactory, so it's not really good. She always would say, I'll give you Troyanda, because Troika or Trika and Troyanda. So Troyanda means rose. So she says, I give you a rose. That means she gives you 3, which is not a good grade. But you could see how our desk looked like, quite basic. Desk and chairs, 2 people per desk. Usually teacher assigned us to the desk, so you didn't have a choice where you're going to sit. You can't see me in this photo. I'm to the right, kind of cut off on that shot, but you can see Ira, the girl I had a crush on. She's sitting next to her boyfriend that became her husband later on. Also on Tuesday, the 3rd lesson was geometry. I kind of had mixed feelings about geometry. Originally, we had a really mean older teacher, and she was really strict, so it's hard to have a warm feelings toward the subject when you constantly have to spend hours doing homework and memorizing different theorems. But then we got this new teacher, which is on this picture, fresh out of college, a young Jewish lady. She was quite pretty and had a nice rack, so then geometry became a way more tolerable subject. Next class on Tuesday was Иностранный язык, in Yaz, which is foreign language. In my case was English. And it stayed English from the fourth grade all the way to the 10th. Like here in America, my kids swapping. One year it's Korean, another year they decided to study Spanish. We had no choice. The whole school would be English as a foreign language, and that's it. That looks like I had to study something about Canada, and I always had top grades in English. Also that day we had FISRA, physical education, физическая культура. We talked about it already. There's not much sports were going on, at least in our school. We didn't have like soccer competition with other teams or anything like that. And the last lesson was history, which we studied history of the Soviet Union. And it says a little line that says informatica, so it looks like sometimes it was substituted with computer science. I'm not sure why. Twice a week on Thursday and I believe Saturday we had обществоведение, which is kind of like a social studies. It's when they explain us difference between capitalist society and socialist society. And the funny thing, our teacher, he also was Jewish, later immigrated to Israel. So he was teaching us about benefits and stuff like that of socialist society. Then he left the country and went to Israel. So most classes we had twice a week, except astronomy. So the last lesson on the last day of the week on Saturdays was astronomy. There was a brand new class. It's also only in the 10th grade. And it would be easily my favorite class because I love science fiction, especially back then. You know, reading everything about space travel, knowing about planets and everything like that. But it was the last lesson on the last day and everyone was tired, including the teacher who was actually same teacher who teaches us physics also teaches us astronomy. So that class, unfortunately, was just check mark in the book. We never did any field trips to observatories, anything like that. So it could be an awesome class, but unfortunately, it didn't happen that way. Okay, so we're actually done with the subjects that we studied in the 10th grade, and now quickly we're going to look at a couple of pages, most interesting things that happened in 1987-88 in school for me. So there's my grades in September. And if you notice, signature is the same. So I think what happened in the end of the week, our class leader teacher, who was also a teacher of English, she was transferring grades from her book. So she had a book that was all the grades for all the kids, and then she transferred them on our planners because signature is the same. And then the bottom, she signed it, my mom signed it as her signature, and way below says прилежание удовлетворительное and поведение удовлетворительное. So attitude was satisfactory, and behavior, my behavior in class was satisfactory. Otherwise, algebra I got 4 and 5, which is good and excellent. Chemistry was not as good, 3 and 4. Ukrainian literature 4. History 545. Russian literature 444. And that's it for that week. So she just kind of put the total grades in red ink, which is usually teachers do. This page caught my eye, so that happened in October. So on the bottom, red ink says «Дирекция школы выносит благодарность Сергею за работу в столовой». So actually the school director was saying special thanks to me for helping in the cafeteria. I don't remember what I did there, but it's kind of cool. And on the right side, on the other page, says that my behavior that week was excellent, примерно. And another thing I want to point out for you guys, I started slowly switching my handwriting from cursive to print. A little bit here and there, you can notice that I'm starting printing instead of having cursive. So the 10th grade, I don't know why, don't remember why, but I decided to switch my handwriting from cursive to printing. Another interesting note right here that I wrote down for myself, that on January 29, 1988, in 9 o'clock in the morning, to show up by the военкомат. So that's that military outfit that tracks all the males in the area. I already had videos about it, but this is my record. So instead of school, all the boys went to военкомат to get their medical done and get on the record to be ready to be drafted next year, because you finished school in 88, age of 17. And next year, 1989, my generation was ready to be drafted in the Soviet Army. If you comrades still with me, listening to this long and boring video, thank you so much for your patience. We're almost there. So this is the last page of my school planner for the 10th grade. I got a little bit cut out here on the left side, but as you see, I printed all my subjects, and I was tracking my scores for every quarter except the fourth. So Russian literature, Ukrainian literature, algebra, geometry, pretty much everything is 4. Physics, astronomy, foreign language, physical education, UPK, chemistry, biology, history, обществоведение, and NVP. So I was a solid A-B student, I would say that way. They call it хорошист in Russian. On the opposite side, you might recognize there's some English. So I was writing down description of Kiev. Kiev is the capital of Ukrainian SSR. It's a large political, industrial, cultural center. It is a hero city. Its population nearly 3 million people. Kiev is situated on Dnieper, the longest river in the Ukraine. Here goes the Ukraine. Kiev is one of the oldest cities of Europe. It was founded 1500 years ago. There are many monuments in Kiev. So I was preparing for some kind of presentation in English class. And below that, if you notice, there's something from computer science. Ctrl-Q will launch the program. So I was writing a little cheat list for my computer class. Okay, so this concludes the story about the subjects that Soviet students had to study in the 10th grade. This is actual photo again from our class, and here you can, if you pay attention, recognize where's Comrade Sergey. And on the opposite left side, looks like Ira is still looking at me a little bit. So this was during our chemistry class, chemistry teacher, and yes, here we are. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. As always, I enjoy your comments. Don't forget to like it, and we'll talk to you soon. До свидания. Goodbye. Hey, by the way, cool merch for cool comrades is available at the Ushanka store at teespring.com. Just a friendly reminder that my book American Diaries is available on amazon.com, or shoot me an email if you would like to have a signed copy. Thank you. And if you love my channel and would like to show your support, please click on the link below this video and become the patron of the Ushanka Show. For as little as $1, you can help us grow and create the new, interesting videos about the life in Soviet Union.